Hello everyone, Pantoufleee here today for a new in-shop video concerning the Vindicator and the Predator which are both available in the shop for $25. So let's start with the Vindicator and we will review the Predator after. I'm gonna review both of them in this video just in case you're curious about it. I'm not gonna do two separate videos because it's useless. So let's start with the first one, which is, if I had to compare it to a tank, I would probably compare it to the SU-152, and you're gonna see why, simply because they share the exact same gun. Aiming time 4.4 seconds, gun dispersion 0.41, so a really bad gun dispersion and a really bad aim time as well. The damage per minute is crazy, 2.9k at tier 7 is just incredible. You really have that big DPM loaded. Now, of course, if the damage per minute is good, the reload time is good as well, because you have 13 seconds, 13.22 if I want to be specific. For the average penetration, I would say the main gold shell are fine. 225, you will penetrate pretty much everything at tier 7, tier 6 and tier 8. But when it comes to a struggle, that's with your regular shells. 150, most of the time it's not enough. And for the high explosive, HE 80mm is really great, so do not hesitate to load a lot of HEs with this tank because you're gonna make them worth. Now, for the average damage, same as the SU, as I told you, 640 with regular shells, 545 with heat, and 900 with HE. But the main difference between the SU and the Vindicator, which makes the SU playable and not the Vindicator, it's probably its gun depression. You only have 2 degrees, and trust me, 2 degrees of gun depression is definitely not enough, but you're going to see that in the playstyle section of this video. Now for the mobility, it's an average, if not bad one, simply because you're not fast enough to take aggressive positions and you are not fast enough to avoid being circled by your mediums. So with this tank, make sure you're not alone, because if you do and you're facing a light tank or a medium, you can say bye-bye to your tank. And for the turn rate, as I said, it joins what I say about mediums. You only have 33 degrees per second of all turn rate, which is definitely not enough for you to fight against mediums in terms of mobility. So that's pretty much the tank in the garage. Now let's talk about the armor profile a little bit. Concerning the armor profile of the Vindicator, it's really simple. You have a huge spaced armor at the front here, which is probably covering the whole tank. You just have the little weak spot there. If people shoot here, it's guaranteed to be penetrating. You also have a cupola here, which is quite easy to penetrate, so be aware that people can actually penetrate this even with HE, especially Smasher and SU-152. For the rest, they will not, but they will still penetrate with AP, APCRs, etc. Now for this little armor profile here, it's 170, so not everybody can penetrate it, but as soon as they load gold, they should be able to. And for the rest of the tank, it's pretty easy to penetrate. Be careful with this tank. Stay always in front of your opponents. Never try to angle, even just a little bit like that, because everybody will penetrate you. Be careful. At least it makes it easy to play, because you just have to stay in front of your opponents like this. If you try to angle, you're gonna get wrecked. That's pretty much the tank for you. And another thing I talked about previously in my previous reviews of the Vindicator, and I want to tell you about this right now as well. The main problem of this tank is that its base shell are hit. And for those of you who don't know, the heat shells can't go through spaced armor. So with this tank, if you shoot at someone on the side, on the tracks, there is 90% chances that you will not penetrate. And it's really frustrating, and that's why it makes the SU-152 better. Simply because with this tank, you need to actually aim all the time and avoid spaced armor. If you face something that has spaced armor, you are gonna get wrecked. Now, for the equipments, how am I equipping it? It's pretty simple. I go first for the gun rammer, but you could as well go for the calibrated shell, but I'm more comfortable with gun rammer in order for me to reload faster. After I go for the enhanced gun length drive to decrease the aim time after the tank moved, etc., and also to increase my aiming speed. Finally, the refined gun to lower down the gun dispersion, because even it's after using this equipment that I have 0.41. So just imagine if I was not using this. After I go for the defense system, because I'm not gonna ram anyone, here you have the choice. You could go for enhanced armor or improved assembly. I would rather go for enhanced armor because it allows me to bounce more shells on my frontal plate, but it's all up to you. You could go for improved assembly as well. After I go for the toolbox, because the enhanced track is worthless. worthless. The camonet, because with this tank, trust me, you're gonna camp. Or you could actually push as well, but in both cases, you don't need to spot for yourself. Your team will do the job. After I go for the engine accelerator to increase my mobility, which sucks. And finally, consumable delivery system, because with 13 seconds of reload, it's worthless using adrenaline and making the duration longer. That's why I go for the consumable delivery system. Alright, so for the playstyle, it's a nightmare. It's either you're in flat terrain and here it's safe for you, so city maps like Emmelsdorf and 2 degrees of gun depression should be fine. Or it's not the case, and it's gonna be not the case in 90% of the maps in this goddamn game. You are gonna be on a map that needs gun depression and you don't have any, so how do you make it work? It's really something special. Let me explain. You have to artificially use your gun elevation to make it look like it's your gun depression and not elevation. And how do you do that? You find a hill, you put your tank forward into the hill, and it's gonna increase artificially your gun depression. Let me show you here on this little slope there. For example, if I stay here, I can shoot 30-90. But if I advance myself a little bit like that, here, I artificially increase my gun depression because my tank is angling itself. And that's how you make it work. Alright. Nice. The first shot went in. That's perfect. And that was quite lucky because with 0.41 of gun depression, that was actually a blessing from the RNG. Alright, there is the T-34 if he doesn't move, but I doubt he will not move. He doesn't? Okay, okay, okay. Can we make it? Oh, that was actually quite enjoyable though. Alright, perfect. Here we bounced as well. The leather, as I told you, your spaced armor is really good on this tank. Yeah, don't try it against tier 8s, but against tier 7s you can go for it, no problem. Alright, now we have to deal with the target 2. Is he trying to do something? Of course, he had to stop at the very last moment. Yeah, here I'm not gonna bother. With German tanks that have a high penetration at tier 8, even if you have spaced armor, you're not gonna make it effective. So let's go back with my team and try to find another spot from which I can work. Problem is, I don't have any gun depression. And yeah, I know I'm talking a lot about gun depression. Oh, there is an Ori. I want to try the Ori, guys. Let's try the Ori. Let's see if we can do something about this Ori. He's now one shot for us using HE, and he's probably gonna try to cross here, and if he does, my HE is ready. Okay, I don't need any more HEs. Come on, Ori. I don't want to have a guy in the back. That's gonna be a nightmare for us to deal with. Is he AFK or something? Okay, nice, Ori. So I went all the way up to you just to get 100 HP. Poor of me. Alright, let's try to satisfy ourselves with the 3090, which is probably gonna do something dumb. I'm expecting him to do something dumb because that's what I would do. Come on, 3090. Come on, please show yourself once more. He's not gonna show himself. He's definitely not gonna show himself. Woof! Wow, that was a huge shot, not gonna lie. Alright, perfect. So, as you can see, the struggle is real with your gun depression. You gotta artificially increase it. That's what we did. Is it gonna be enough for you? Come on. Of course, I had to do a low roll. Come on, let's hide. Hide. That sounded German. And now we have to deal with the 1390. That was an easy game. Thank God it was an easy game, because if it was not, I would have died probably. So yeah, you can count on your spaced armor against tier 6, tier 7, but definitely not against tier 8s. You have to artificially increase your gun depression, and you are set up to at least do some stuff, even if most of the time, let's face it, this tank sucks and you're gonna get wrecked. I would not recommend this tank. Now, let's go further into the review and talk about the Predator. The funny factor about both the Vindicator and the Predator is that they both suffer the same problem, the lack of gun depression. On the Predator it's a little bit different, because unlike the Vindicator, which is really low profiled, here you have a really high tank. And even if you have a good gun depression, the fact that you're a big ass cube, makes it really hard to use your gun depression, and therefore makes it look like you don't have any. But pretty much, how do you want to know about that tank? You have an auto loader, which is a cool factor. Unlike the Vindicator, here you have a good gun dispersion, 0.29, good aiming time. The damage per minute is not the best, but still does the job actually. The magazine reload time is quite interesting with 10.5 seconds. The shell reload time, the time it takes to load shells is only 1.5 seconds. So you can unleash your whole clip in 3 seconds, sorry. In 3 seconds you unleash your whole clip. And it allows you to do a lot of damage because you have 180 alpha damage per shot. For the average penetration, it's a little bit better with the base penetration than the Vindicator with 173, and it goes up to 220 millimeters if you are using gold shells. It's enough. It's enough for you to do the job on pretty much every single situation, starting from tier 6 to tier 8. And for the gun depression, 5 degrees, as I told you, as you really have a high tank, you're not going to feel like it's 5 degrees. You're going to feel like it's 2 or 3 degrees, same as the Vindicator. So you're still going to struggle with this one as well. But at least here, you have a turret and a fully traversable one. You have 41 degrees per second, which is definitely enough to do the job. Not the best armor overall, but as it's really hard to catch up the turret cheeks, probably most time the shells are going to go on the gun mantlet, which is not something you can penetrate, so you should be safe. For the engine, not the best. Around the same mobility as the Vindicator, just a little bit better. You should go around 35 kilometers per hour. It's enough to take an advanced position if you're facing tier 6 and tier 7, but not tier 8. If you're facing tier 8, you're going to arrive after them. But who cares about this? When you're facing tier 8, you're not here to brawl against anybody. And for the ult turn rate, 33 degrees per second, not the best, but not the worst either. Let's say it's average. So for the ammunition, that's pretty much how I'm equipping my tank. I could actually go for... I didn't know I was lacking some... Anyway, we don't care. For the combat power, for the equipments, I go for the calibrated shell because with my autoloaders, I like to use this because I don't feel like there is a difference with the vent. After I go for the enhanced gun lane drive to reduce my aim speed. And finally, I could go for the refined gun or for the vertical stabilizer. But I think the vertical stabilizer would be a better thing to go for. That's why I'm going to use it here. Defense system because I'm not going to ram anybody. Improved assembly because you don't have enough armor to make your enhanced armor effective. Toolbox because enhanced track is worthless. Improved optics because you're not going to camp. You're a heavy tank. Engine accelerator to increase a little bit my mobility, which is average. And finally, the consumable delivery system because it allows me to use my consumables more often. As you have an autoloader, you don't really care about adrenaline. For the armor profile, it's a little bit interesting because the tank is really angled weirdly, let's say. For the frontal armor, let's talk first about the turret cheeks. Nearly nobody's gonna penetrate you, which makes it a really good turret in my opinion at tier 7. Of course, you still have the cupola, but I like the fact that it's a little bit hidden by your gun mantlet, which is quite huge. Here, you can still get penetrated if people tend to shoot there, but it's quite rare that they manage to do it and actually penetrate because it's not a really big cupola when you're playing in game. It's hard to shoot. After, here is the weak spot, 130mm there, the lower part of the hull, but it's really a small plate to shoot, so you're safe. Here you have a little bit more armor with 176mm. It's gonna prevent you from being shot and penetrated by tier 6, not tier 8s, and some tier 7s, except if they use gold shells. You also have this little plate there, which is quite angled with nearly 200mm, and what is interesting is that you have two views for the watchers. I don't even remember, driver maybe we're gonna say, and that's the big problem of this tank. These are the two weak spots everybody are gonna shoot at. Of course, it's still quite hard to penetrate them because you gotta aim correctly and all that kind of stuff. But if they manage to go through, it's easy to penetrate tier 6, tier 7, tier 8, nobody will struggle. Now for the rest of the tank, it's the same base as the Vindicator, or at least it looks like the same, so you're really fragile on your sides, especially here because on the skin profile of the tank, here it's a door. So doors are not known to be well armored, so you only have 55mm. But unlike the Vindicator, you can still angle just a little bit that tank, not too much. You gotta angle it like like, for example, you're side scraping and you go around the corner. Not as much as this. And still here, if they shoot the door, they can penetrate. So be aware that it's gonna be a nightmare to angle. Most of the time, I would tell you, you stay straight in front of your opponent, or you try to angle just a little bit and you hide this part. That's the best way to make your armor effective, even if overall you definitely don't have the best armor at tier 7. Now, concerning the playstyle, the main thing about the Predator is trying to find a position from which you can use your gun depression, which sucks. That's the same problem on both the Vindicator and the Predator. It feels like Warhammer tanks are made of nothing, literally. But let's give it a try and let's make it work. At least here, the cool factor about the matchmaking is that we are not facing a lot of tier 8s, and the tier 8s we're facing are easy to penetrate. So we're gonna go directly on the left side of the map, staying with the mediums, as if I go alone on one side, I'm probably gonna get wrecked in the process. So here we go. Let's go there. That would be perfect if we could use the machine gun on the side of the tank. That would be literally awesome. God damn it, I wish we could. Sorry, I'm lost in the sauce. So, here we go, trying to find a position. The main problem with this tank is, as you're a big cube, it's really hard to hide. And finding positions from which you can be effective while not being able to get penetrated are really hard to find. So here we go, there is the LTTB. Nobody's actually shooting me yet. I don't know where the rest of the team is, so... Okay, we took a bounce. Here we try. First shot, second shot. We bounced the Tankenstein. There is the SU. Can we sneak shot? No, we missed. Okay, that T-44 100 really wants to get a shot in. Let's go for some side scrape, boys. No, let's not go for some side scrape, it seems. Okay, let's angle against the Gravedigger. We go for a shot, we go for a second shot, and we go for the third shot. That's what I like about the Predator. The burst capacity of the tank is simply amazing, because in 10 seconds you will go around 500 damage, and that's quite a lot though. And as long as people tend not to care too much about you, you are safe. Sneaking the second shells in. Now I gotta go there, because if I don't, the Tankenstein is probably gonna sneak some shots. There is the T-44 100 that is coming my way. Am I gonna try something? Yes. Come on. First shot. He escaped. He escaped. Alright. Tankenstein and Bulldog. Wow, Bulldog camping. What an effective player, isn't it? Alright. Should I help my team against the Lupus and the Gravedigger, or should I help them on the Bulldog? I feel like the Bulldog is gonna go away. So here we go. We angle our tank a little bit. We try and pray for them not to shoot at my nice shot in the rock, Pantoufleee. Try to avoid taking shots into your lower plate and your setup. Here we go, let's focus on the Lupus. He doesn't care about me, it seems, so we're good. Come on, let's reload and let's burst the hell out of the Lupus. 3 shots, now we reload, we put him on fire, that's perfect. Is he gonna burn to death? No, unfortunately. I should be able to one-shot the guy. Here we're gonna try. I'm gonna reload before him, that's 100% sure. We kill the guy. Ooh, now we deal with the Gravedigger. First shot, second shot that bounced. But who cares? Who cares? Autoloader against autoloader. Who's gonna win? Probably me, as long as he stays here so I can penetrate his lower part. Nice. I wanted to penetrate the lower part of his hull, but as I told you, sometimes it's a struggle with your gun depression, and that's what makes it frustrating to play. But this thing is actually not that bad, as long as you know how to deal with not having any gun depression. Of course, it's not the case of anyone, so I would say the Vindicator is only for experienced players that want an actual challenge. Oh boy, and as I'm talking, my team got wrecked. I don't understand how they got wrecked on the other side here, simply because it was way... I mean, it was easy for them to kill the Bulldog and the T-44. That's all they had to do. Come on, are you kidding me? Okay, there is the Bulldog. There is the T-44. I'm spotted. Yes, I am. We gotta kill that T-44 100. Okay, he doesn't show himself. Fuck. Am I gonna die? Probably. Yeah, it's over for me. It's over for me. Except if I'm really lucky on the Bulldog, though. Oh. No, he's gonna fuck me up. It's way too easy for him to kill me. It's over. Look at Noob Clan, yeah, as always. Yeah, no, here, impossible to win. I couldn't really hide myself, but you get the spirit of how you want to play your tank. But as long as you're facing mediums and light, you're gonna get destroyed, let's be honest. Alright, so that was a cool game. That was a cool game, even if we lost it in the end, but it shows you how to play it. Be aware that your gun depression sucks. Be aware that your armor is definitely not the best. As long as you're facing tier 7, it should be fine, but when it comes to tier 8, you are paper. Which makes it a good tank top tier, but a really bad tank bottom tier. That was pretty much my review for both of the tanks. Hope you enjoyed. If that's the case, feel free to subscribe, like, and share, and I'm gonna see you soon for a new video, guys.